Okay, to give you all just kind of a basic tour of using the Macintosh, we'll close out stuff and we'll start off with this. When you turn on your computer the first time, the first thing you're going to see is your desktop. Just like using a Windows computer or any other computer, if you need to find something, most of your files are going to be saved to the desktop. You can already see there's some file folders off to the side. Same way with the Windows computer, if you need to open up a file folder, double click it, it'll open up and you can see the contents within it. One thing that a Macintosh does have differently is called the dock. If you'll bring your mouse down to the very bottom edge of your screen, these are all of the programs that you can open up, and you can open them up with just one click. So all the programs we'll be using can be found down at the bottom of your screen, and this is called the dock to open it up. You can tell that a program is open. Let's see, so I've got, this is QuickTime Player. There's a little dot down at the very bottom underneath its icon. If there's a dot underneath it, then that'll just let you know that that program has been opened and it's actively running, even though that may not show you anything on the screen. So you can quickly look. I see that Acrobat Reader, it's got a dot on it. Firefox, here's Remote Desktop, so that'll let you know what you can do. Whenever you open up a computer program, let me open up Firefox. So I've got it open. Also, you can, any windows that you have can be stored down on the dock. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. But whenever you have a program open, if you look at the very top of your screen, this is your drop-down menus. Whatever program you're using, the name of it will appear up here. If you click on any of the drop-down menus, it'll give you the other options that allow you to control whatever program that you have open. So once we start using Photoshop, you'll have different menus that allow you to control Photoshop, same way for Illustrator and InDesign and such like that. If you ever need to quit a program, you can always click on the name, and there's how you can quit it out. Show you another thing, whenever you have a window open, this is true for any file folders, you'll have three different buttons up here. The first one, the red X, will completely close out whatever window you have open. So I'm going to close it. It's going to ask me to close the tabs. We'll do that. Now notice that it completely closed it out. But notice that the name is still up there. In Macintosh, whenever you hit the red X, it doesn't quit a program. It just closes out whatever window was up there. So keep in mind, if you want to quit a program, you need to click on the name and go down to quit to choose to quit out of that program as well. Let's launch up Safari. For most of your computers, the web browser that you'll use, if you don't have Firefox, you can use Safari. Safari is the native web browser for most Apple applications. For the other two little buttons, the yellow button, you click it, will minimize your window down to your dock, and it's usually on the far right-hand side. So here's the menu that we had there. I'm going to click it, and it'll open it back up again. And the green menu, if I was to say collapse this all the way down, if I hit the green one again, it'll open it back up to full view. If I was to click it again, it'll minimize it back down to that way. So that's what the green menu will do. The yellow one docks it back down to the dock. Let's see here. Another thing you'll find on the dock, on the far right-hand side, there are three folders that are very common to be used. The first one is your Documents folder. If you'll click on this folder, well, right now I don't have much in it, but I've got another folder within it called Microsoft User Data. Most of the documents that you save, by default, will go to the Documents folder down here. When you click on it, you see it popped up like that. You can click on anything that's inside of it, so I'm going to open up this one by clicking on it once, and then I've opened up that folder. The other two are your applications. These are all the programs that are on the iMac that you're using, and you can scroll down through them. If I was to click it again, I'll just minimize it. This is the most important one. This is your Downloads folder. Whenever I upload stuff to Moodle, you'll have to download the information. You'll be downloading pictures, you'll be downloading PDFs. Most of the time, it'll go to your Downloads folder, and so this is where you'll find all the things that you'll download for that day. If you ever just want to open up the folder, you can always hit the Open in Finder, the little round with the arrow icon, and it'll open up this way. Of course, you can move them around to minimize them that way as well. Am I going too fast? I know this is all just real basic for you. Okay, any questions? Cool. All right, so that's just kind of the basics of using the Macintosh computer. I'm going to close these two out. Let's go into Safari. Like I said, all of our projects and information for this class will be found on Moodle. So you can open up Safari, type in moodle.mc.edu. You can see I've typed it in before and hit return. We'll give it a second to load. Type in your username and your password. Sometimes it'll ask you, do you want to save this password? Since you're on a public computer, I would say never for the site. I'll let it load up. By the way, if you ever want to resize a window, usually at the bottom right-hand side, that's what I'm doing. I'm clicking and dragging that bottom right-hand corner, and that'll allow me to resize the window from there. And then we're going to find the Intro to Graphic Software. Now mine's going to look a little different since I'm a teacher. Let's swap it over to student mode. See what happens. So this is what you should see whenever you log into our Moodle classroom page. First of all, every week I'm going to add a different project to what we're working on. So for today, we're going to do the information sheet project. We're just going to kind of get an introduction to using Adobe InDesign. For the classroom materials, if you need to download the syllabus, the frequently asked questions, or the addendum, it's also online as well. I just passed it out to you. Sometimes I will pass out notes. Every time I'll always have it on Moodle if I don't have it prepared and printed off. So for today, we're going to start learning a program called Adobe InDesign. InDesign is what's called a multiple page editing software, which is just a fancy word for it's a publishing software. If you want to write a book, if you want to lay out a magazine, if you want to lay out anything that has multiple pages to it, Adobe InDesign is one of the graphic design standard softwares that you would use. So I'll tell you what, let me show you how to open up Adobe InDesign. This is the icon that we're going to look for, so I'm going to bring my mouse down to the dock. You can see it pops up. There's the icon. I'm going to click it once. While it's loading, you'll see it'll bounce and it'll bring up the InDesign software that we're working in. Whoops. Unclicked it. Let's go back to here. For now, we're not going to really get into creating a new document, but I'm going to show you how to download the InDesign document for today's project. So I'm going to bring this back up. To download anything, all you have to do is click once. Oh boy, that's a new thing. Usually when you click that, it'll give you an option to say where you want to save it to. I don't know why I did that. I think that's a part of a new update. When you click it, it'll ask you where do you want to save it to. Most of the time, it'll save to your downloads folder. I'm going to click on the downloads, and there it is. There's the information sheet.indd. INDD stands for InDesign document. I'll open this up in Finder by clicking on this. So here it is within this window. And there it is right there. If you ever want to open up this document, if I double click, it'll automatically open it up in its native application. In this case, it's InDesign. Like with any of the other windows that we've seen, you've got the three little buttons up here. The red one's going to close it, minimize it, and resize it. I'm going to minimize it for now, just to kind of get it out of the way. As a matter of fact, let me show you all how to download something since it didn't act the way I thought it would. Let me open up Firefox because I know this is going to work. Moodle, y'all bear with me. I love working in Firefox. It just works on everything. I've had problems with Safari. Sometimes you have problems with Chrome. Chrome's really good if you want to be a web designer because it's like native and it supports a lot of stuff. But Firefox is just good all around. That's my personal tip for today. Let's go back into here. And you can see we're going to start doing a resume project in a couple of days. But for now, I'm going to click on, let's see, switch role to the student. There we go. The info sheet document. Give it one click. Give it just a second. Come on. You can see it's thinking, so it's going to work out. Try that again. There we go. Ah, perfect. That time when I clicked on it, it's going to ask me, where do you want to save it to? So you've chosen to open an InDesign file. There's two options you can choose. The first one is to open it with and it's going to ask you to choose a program. In this case, Adobe InDesign. It's an InDesign document, so it's going to, by default, open it there. But if you just wanted to save it, you can choose Save File, and it won't open it up automatically. So either way you want to choose it is okay with me. I'll choose, this time, just Save, and we'll say OK. And it's been saved now back into my Downloads folder, which is down in your dock. And there's Info Sheet. Since I've downloaded another one, it's going to give me just a little 1 beside it as well. Any questions so far? It's good to know because you're going to be doing this for every single class that we're going to be working from. Another thing, does anybody have a jump drive with them today I can borrow? Mr. Ivy came to class unprepared. I didn't bring my jump drive with me. No one has a jump drive today? Okay, cool. This is going to be really good. I'm going to show you all how to make a folder with your name on it, because you're going to have to do this if you want to save a document without me erasing it. Just so you know, you can put your folders, your files inside that folder. I'm going to close this out, red X. I'm going to minimize this just to get it out of the way. Remember, it's still open. I can always go down to the dock and click on any of these little icons to pull it back up. But I'm on my desktop, and I want to make a folder on my desktop. Now, if you look at your mouse, what's one thing you see missing on your mouse that's usually on every other mouse you've ever worked with? 2 keys, 2 buttons. A Macintosh computer doesn't have a right-click button to it. So you're going to have to get used to using just 1 key. Let me show you how to get through with that. Look on your keyboard, try to find the Control key. It's located at the very bottom left-hand corner of your keyboard. The Control key is the, quote, right-click of the Macintosh world. So I'm going to hold down my Control key and click once. This will give me a pop-out menu. And from here, I can create a new folder. And in this case, it's already highlighted. By default, it's called Untitled. I'm going to call this Ben's Save Folder. You can put your name on it. You can call it whatever you want. Once you're done, I'm just going to click off, and it's saved from there. So everything, I can double-click, open it up. You can see there's nothing inside of here. It can be saved to this folder by itself. Let's close it out as well. Let's see. Tell you what, if you want to change the color of it, this will be a little free extra for you. See how some of them have like a purple or a red, or you can add any other color to it? With it selected, you can go to View and go to File. And here's your different color labels for it. So if you want to quickly find and change the label to it, let's make this one green. And so now I've got a green label applied to this one, and I can quickly be able to find it. Again, to do that, just be sure to click on the File folder, choose File, and then choose whatever label color that you want it to have from there. Alright, so we've downloaded that InDesign file from Moodle. Now I had it already opened up. Here it is down in my document. I'm going to click on this once and bring it back up. For today, I want you to type out just some information about yourself. And we're going to do this in Adobe InDesign. If you've ever used Microsoft Word, you can use Adobe InDesign really easy. First thing I want you to do is, once it's opened up, you can see you've got fields for your name, email, phone number. Some things you're going to have to sign with a pencil, and I'll show you how to print also. In order to type in InDesign, this is the most important icon to remember. The T button on here is your type tool. You're going to click on it. Now when I click on this document, I've got a blinking cursor, and I can start typing in anything that I want. So Ben Ivy. Email address, click right there, ivy@mc.edu. Phone number, everything else. Type in some things you'd like to learn about this semester. How many of y'all are not graphic design majors? Most everybody in here. Is anybody in art education? In communications? Marketing? What's everybody else? Nursing? I know you're graphic design. English. Okay. All right. What was yours? Yeah, you're graphic design too. I remember now. Okay, so we got a good eclectic mix in here. Everybody wants to learn something a little different. Even if you want to learn how to make, I don't know, holiday cards in here, type out something that you would like to learn on here. I'll see if I can incorporate it into what we teach. The type of art I like to create. How many in here don't like to create art? Yes, good. What did you? I saw your hand.
Not very creative.
Okay. How many of y'all spend like hours on Pinterest going through and looking at stuff other people create? Okay, my wife does that too. Like, I can turn on a movie and she's not interested in, she'll pull up my iPhone and she'll go through Pinterest. That's her job too. Okay. Type in whatever art you like to create or you like to look at. When you're done, I want you to print this off. So here's the final thing I want to teach you. Well, it won't be the last thing, but one thing I want to teach you. To print something in here, we have two different printers. You can go to File, give you a drop-down menu. At the very bottom, here's your print menu. And this is what it looks like. The two printers that we have a color printer and a black and white printer you can choose from. Here's your printer. When you click on this, the HP LaserJet is the black and white printer, and it's the one in the middle of the room. The Phaser 8560 is the color printer, and it's the one in the back corner of the room. So whichever one you choose, notice there's a little check mark, so I've got the black and white printer selected. In this case, we're going to choose the black and white printer. So make sure you print to the HP LaserJet. Everything else is going to be good. We've only got one page, and you're going to click Print. It'll give you just a second. You can go down, let's see, here's a little icon that usually pops up. That'll tell me what's printing, and there it is right there. Once it's done, you can pick it up and fill out the rest of the information. You can turn it in to me. At the very bottom, notice that it says that you've read and understood and agree with the syllabus that we talked about today. If you want to read over it, you can do it as well. If you have any questions, let me know as soon as possible about that. Sign your name to it, turn it in, and I'll keep a copy of it on record as well. Okay? I'm going to show you how to save this file since we created that fancy new folder. We'll go to File and choose, you can either choose Save. I'm going to choose Save As. This will allow me to save a copy of it. So Save As. I need to be able to find the folder that I just created. And this is what our saving document will look like. Look on the very left-hand side. Notice there's the desktop right here. Well, I saved that folder on the desktop. So I'm going to click on Desktop. And aha, here's Ben's saved folder. I'm going to double click on this. Now I'm inside of Ben's saved folder. So when I hit Save, it'll save it down. I'm going to close this out. Hitting the red X. Sometimes it'll take just a second. Now if I was to go back to my folder, aha, there it is saved in there. All good. I'm going to go back to InDesign. Notice that when I clicked on InDesign, you got all the little palettes and everything, but when I clicked on my desktop, they went away. Don't worry, InDesign's still up and working, so if that ever happens, you can always go back down to the icon and click on it, or click on a folder or a file that was open. It'll bring you back to InDesign. To quit out of any program, always go to the name and choose Quit InDesign. And that's all we're going to do for today. Since nobody has a jump drive, I won't show you all how to eject it and plug them in. To turn off your computer, this is the most important thing to remember. Go to the Apple menu at the top left-hand corner and go down to Shut Down. And this will ask you, are you sure you want to shut down? You'll say OK and shut it down as well. You don't want to log it off or sleep or log off or anything else. You just wanted to shut down your computer, and that'll turn off everything as well. Any questions? Go over anything else? All right, I'll stop our recording. I'm going to turn your computer back